Fear is a four-letter word, and so is stuck. Your hilarious and heartfelt guide to overcoming the fear of failure and living a life you actually love. What if your most humiliating, soul-crushing failure wasn't an ending, but a secret origin story? We all have a moment that haunts us. For our author, it happened at 8:17 p.m. on a Tuesday under the searing heat of stage lights in front of 300 people. It involved his life savings, a can of gourmet cat food, and a secret weapon named Sir Reginald Fluffington, a cat who chose that exact moment to become a furry, four-legged demon of chaos, transforming a surefire business launch into a legendary faceplant. This public implosion should have been the end. Instead, it became the key. In Fear is a four-letter word, you won't find advice from a guru living in an ivory tower of success. You'll find a trusted, laugh-out-loud funny guide who has been in the trenches of failure and emerged with a radical discovery. The secret to getting unstuck isn't avoiding failure. It's learning how to do it gloriously. This book is a hilarious and heartfelt investigation into the prisons we build for ourselves. You'll venture deep into the what-if wormhole, that mental black hole where asking for a raise somehow leads to being abandoned by your dog. You'll meet the ghosts of failures past that whisper in your ear every time you contemplate a risk. But you won't just meet them, you'll learn how to exorcise them for good. What is the hidden architecture of the fear that keeps you paralyzed? How can a simple shift in your personal narrative transform a tragedy into a comedy? And what is the single most important question you're not asking yourself? The one that reveals the truly terrifying cost of standing still. Through a series of brilliant, unconventional exercises, from conducting a failure autopsy to creating a resilience recipe and taking the deliberate imperfection dare, you'll dismantle the machinery of fear piece by piece. You'll discover that within your biggest flops lie your greatest assets, and that you already have everything you need to build a bolder, more authentic life. Fear is a four-letter word is more than a self-help book. It's a permission slip to be human, a toolkit for resilience, and a roadmap to getting out of your own way. Are you ready to discover the surprising power hidden in your worst moments?
Introduction, my epic faceplant, and why it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Let's get one thing straight. I'm no stranger to failure. In fact, you could say I'm a connoisseur, a collector of calamities, a virtuoso of the veritable faceplant. My magnum opus of mess-ups happened at precisely 8:17 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was standing on a stage under lights so hot they could have forced steel in front of about 300 people. This was it, the launch of my first real business, a gourmet, organic, cat food delivery service. I had poured my life savings, my sanity, and 2 years of ramen noodle-fueled nights into this venture. My presentation was flawless, my suit was sharp, or so I thought, and I was ready to change the world, one pampered feline at a time. For my grand finale, I had a secret weapon, my own cat, Sir Reginald Fluffington, who was supposed to delicately nibble a sample, purr with delight, and thus prove the irresistible nature of my product. There was just one tiny, unforeseen detail. The house lights, combined with the collective stare of 300 strangers, transformed Sir Reginald into a cuddly companion, into a furry four-legged demon of chaos. He took one look at the bowl, hissed a sound I can only describe as satanic, and proceeded to lunge himself directly onto my head. Picture this, a grown man trying to deliver a serious business pitch, with a terrified cat clinging to his scalp like a very angry berry furry Davy Crockett hat. He clawed his way to my suit, leaving a trail of shredded polyester and shattered dignity in his wake, before making a final desperate leap into the darkness of the auditorium. The silence that followed was deafening. It was the kind of quiet that has a weight to it, a physical presence. Then a single giggle from the back row broke the spell, followed by a ripple, and then a full-blown tsunami of laughter. My face burned with a heat that had nothing to do with the stage lights. In that moment, I wasn't just a failed entrepreneur. I was a walking, talking, cat-scratched meme. My epic faceplant was complete. I wish I could tell you that I handled it with grace. I didn't. I mumbled something incoherent into the microphone, tripped over a speaker cable, and fled the stage, leaving behind my dreams of becoming the Elon Musk of cat food. For months, that moment haunted me. It was my personal ghost of failures past, rattling its chains every time I even thought about trying something new. The fear of that humiliation was a physical barrier, a wall between me and any potential risk. But then something funny happened. I was telling the story to a friend over coffee, and as I reenacted Sir Reginald's frantic escape, I started to laugh. Not a polite chuckle, but a deep, gut-wrenching, tear streaming down my face kind of laugh. In that moment of shared absurdity, the shame started to lose its power. The story transformed into a tragedy, into a comedy. It was just a story. A really, really good one, actually. That's when I realized the secret. The antidote to the fear of failure isn't a string of unbroken successes. It's learning to find the lesson and the laughter in your faceplants. This book isn't written from an ivory tower of perpetual success. It's written from the trenches, armed with the hard-won wisdom that only comes from royalty, messing things up. I've failed at businesses, see above. I've failed at relationships. Ask me about the time I tried to propose with a ring in a burrito. That last one, let's be honest, is a shared trauma that unites us as a species. The cryptic instructions, the single mysterious leapt-over screw, it's a crucible of the human spirit. These pages are filled with my most cringeworthy, comical, and catalytic failures, not for your pity, but for your empowerment. I'm sharing them because I want you to see that a stumble, a fall, or even a full-on cat-induced public meltdown is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a better one. It's the part where the hero gets their grit. We're going to dismantle the fear that keeps you stuck. We'll perform a comedy roast on your worst-case scenarios. Write a failure resume that will make you feel more qualified than ever before. And exorcise the ghosts of failures past. We'll do it with humor, with honesty, and with practical, no-fluff exercises that actually work. Consider me your trusted and slightly clumsy friend on this journey. I've fallen flat on my face so you don't have to. Or rather, so that when you do, you'll know exactly how to get back up, dust yourself off, and have a damn good laugh about it. So are you ready? Stop letting a four-letter word like fear dictate your life. Are you ready to get unstuck? Good. Let's dive in. Your fairish future awaiting. I don't know if I can't stop crying.
Part 1. Deconstructing the Beast. Why We're So Scared to Suck. Chapter 1. The What If Wormhole and Other Mind-Bending Feats of Self-Sabotage. Have you ever stood in front of your microwave waiting for your leftovers to heat up? And in those 90 seconds, manage to mentally chart your own path from a minor work mistake to utter financial ruin, social exile, and a future where you're living in a van down the river? If so, congratulations! You've discovered the What If wormhole. It's a special kind of mental black hole, a vortex of anxiety that starts with a single, innocent question and rapidly spirals into a full-blown catastrophe of your own making. It goes something like this. You: I should ask my boss for that promotion. Your brain: but what if she says no? You: okay, that would be awkward. Your brain, now wearing a tinfoil hat and consulting a flowchart of doom. And what if she says no because she secretly hates you? What if she's been documenting all your mistakes? Even that time you sneezed during a Zoom call? What if asking for a promotion gets you put on a secret to be fired list? What if you get fired, can't find another job, your landlord evicts you, and your dog leaves you for a more financially stable owner? And scene. In the span of a minute, you've gone from ambitious professional to jobless, homeless, and abandoned by your dog. It's truly a mind-bending feat of self-sabotage, and our brains are Olympic-level champions at it. So, why do we do this? Are we all just secret masochists who enjoy torturing ourselves with imaginary disasters? Not exactly. The truth is, your brain isn't trying to be a jerk. It's just running on some seriously outdated software. Think of it this way. Your brain's primary job, inherited from our cave-dwelling ancestors, is to keep you alive. Back then, the what-ifs were pretty straightforward. What if that rustling in the bushes is a saber-toothed tiger? In that context, a massive overreaction was a pretty good survival strategy. The caveman who assumed every rustle was a cougar lived to see another sunrise. The one who thought, it's probably just the wind, became the fossil. The problem is your brain still applies that same saber-toothed tiger level of panic to modern-day non-lethal situations. Sending a risky text, speaking up in a meeting, trying a new recipe. To your ancient lizard brain, these are all potential threats lurking in the bushes. The fear of failure, rejection, or even just mild embarrassment gets processed as a genuine survival threat. This gets amplified by years of social conditioning. Remember being a kid? Every time you climbed a little too high or ran a little too fast, you'd hear a chorus of, "Be careful! What if you fall?" We're trained from a young age to look for the potential disaster in every new endeavor. We become fluent in the language of what if, and it keeps us huddled in the perceived safety of our comfort zones. The what if wormhole is the ultimate comfort zone enforcer. It paralyzes us with a parade of horribles that are almost entirely fictional. It's the voice that whispers, "Don't try. It's safer to stay right here, where you know exactly how much you suck, rather than finding new and exciting ways to fail." But here's the secret. You can pull yourself out of the wormhole. The first step is to recognize just how ridiculous the destination is. It's time to turn on the lights, expose the monster under the bed, and have a good, long laugh at it. Which brings us to your first exercise in fearless living. Exercise. The worst case scenario roast. Welcome to the comedy club of your own anxiety. In this exercise, you're not going to rationalize your fears or trying to think positively. You're going to grab your biggest, hairiest what if, put it on a stage under a single spotlight, and roast it until it's nothing but a pile of ashes. Step 1. Identify your fearful what if. Pick something you want to do, but are scared of failing at. Asking Bert Rays, starting a podcast, finally trying to make sourdough bread. Write it down. Example, I want to post my artwork on Instagram, but what if everyone hates it? Step 2, follow the wormhole to its absurd conclusion. Now, let your brain do what it does best. Write down the most catastrophic, over-the-top, ridiculously awful chain of events that could possibly follow. Don't hold back. Go full Hollywood disaster movie. Example, if everyone hates my art, they'll leave horrible comments, and my post will go viral for being the worst art in history. The Museum of Modern Art will hold a special exhibition just to mock my terrible use of color. My family will disown me out of sheer secondhand embarrassment. I'll be forced to change my name and live in seclusion making macaroni art that even kindergartners would ridicule. And seen that. Step 3, roast it. Merciless me. Read your worst case scenario out loud. Now let it have it. Point out to plot holes. Question its logic. Use sarcasm like a weapon. Example roast. Seriously? The Museum of Modern Art? You think they had time to stage a multi-million-dollar exhibition just to dunk in my amateur sketches? Do you know how much paperwork that would involve? And my family, who sat through my 3-hour recorder recital in the 4th grade, is suddenly going to disown me over a poorly drawn cartoon. Cat, get real! You have a better chance of being struck by lightning while lighting the unicorn than any of this actually happening. Step 4. Identify the real worst-case scenario, and how we would handle it. Realistic worst-case scenario. A few people might scroll past it, or maybe I'll get 0 likes. The plan? I'll feel a little disappointed for about 5 minutes. Then I'll remember that my self-worth isn't determined by Instagram likes, and I'll go eat a cookie. See what you did there? You took a terrifying, shadowy monster and exposed it for what it was, a tiny gremlin in a cheap Halloween costume. By taking your fear to its most illogical extreme, you reveal its powerlessness. You see the absurdity, and in that absurdity you find your freedom. The what-if wormhole is a powerful illusion, but it's one you can break. So the next time your brain starts spinning a tale of doom and gloom, stop, take a breath, and get ready to roast.
Chapter 2. The Ghosts of Failures Past. Exorcising your personal poltergeists. Every one of us has a haunted house inside our head. It's not filled with rattling chains or spooky specters in white sheets. It's haunted by something far more terrifying, the ghost of failures past. These are the personal poltergeists we collect throughout our lives, these spectral replays of our most embarrassing, cringeworthy, soul-crushing moments. My most active hunting is the ghost of the botched presentation. I was 24, eager to impress at my first real corporate job. My boss asked me to present a report to the entire senior leadership team. For a week, I lived on coffee and index cards. I practiced in front of the mirror, in the shower, to my very unimpressed cat. I was ready. Until I wasn't. The moment I stood up, my brain decided to perform a factory reset. Every coherent thought vanished. I stared at the sea of stone-faced executives. My meticulously prepared notes suddenly looked like ancient, untranslatable hieroglyphics. I opened my mouth, and what came out was a series of squeaks and stammers that sounded less like a business proposal and more like a hamster caught in a fan bell. The 10-minute presentation stretched into an eternity of awkward silence and flop sweat. For years, that ghost was my godsend companion. Every time a new opportunity arose, a chance to lead a meeting, to give a toast at a wedding, even just to speak up in a group, the ghost would appear. It would whisper in my ear. Remember what happened last time? If you're gonna squeak, they're not gonna stare. You are and always will be a professional hamster impersonator. Sound familiar? Maybe your ghost is the ghost of the failed exam, the one that convinced you you're not smart enough. Or the ghost of the disastrous first date, the one that was first you're destined to be alone with 17 cats. Or the ghost of the baker business, a particularly noisy poltergeist that battles to chains and financial ruin whenever you think of a new idea. These experiences leave an indelible mark. They aren't just memories, they become part of our identity. They carve out neural pathways in our brains, creating a super highway street to fear and self-doubt whenever we approach a similar situation. Our brains, in a misguided attempt to protect us from getting hurt again, wave these failures in our faces like giant red warning flags. The problem is, they keep us from wanting to get back on the field.
But what if we've been looking at these ghosts all wrong? What if you're not here to haunt us, but to help us? What if every poltergeist in your past is actually a world-class, highly paid consultant trying to give you invaluable advice? The project presentation ghost, it wasn't trying to tell me I was a failure. It was teaching me that over-preparation can be a form of anxiety. A memorization of script is fragile. And the true confidence comes from knowing your subject, not your lines. It taught me the power of breathing, of connecting with one or two friendly faces in the crowd, and the light-saving magic of having a glass of water nearby. It was a terrible experience, but it was an incredible teacher. It's time to stop running from your ghosts. It's time to sit down with them, offer them a cup of tea, and ask them what they're trying to teach you. It's time to perform a friendly exorcism. An exercise in a reframing that will transform your greatest failures into your greatest assets. Exercise. The failure resume. We all have a resume that we use for job allocations. A glossy, polished document highlighting our wins, our successes, and our carefully curated skills. Now you're going to create the new one. This is your failure resume, and I promise it will be the most surprisingly empowering document you've ever written. Step 1. Get it all out. Open a new document or grab a notebook. Start listing your failures. Big, small, personal, professional. Get them on down. Don't judge or analyze yet. Just create a raw list. Example. Failed my first starfish test. Got fired from my summer job at the ice cream shop. My revolutionary gourmet cat food business went bust. Burned the Thanksgiving turkey in front of all the utmost. Step 2. Reframe the position. Now go back to each item. Instead of failure, relabel it as a position. Even the title, like you would on a real resume. This is where you start to shift your perspective. Example. Position. Leads vehicle operations analyst. Trade A. Position. Director of cryogenic dairy distribution. Terminated. Position. Founder and CEO of Feline Gastronomy Ventures. Position. Chief of Avian Culinary Execution. Step 3. List skills and lessons learned from that experience. This is the most important part. Under each position, list the invaluable skills, concrete lesson you gained from that experience. Be specific. What did you learn about yourself, about others? What practical skill did you acquire because things went wrong? Example. Position. Founder, CEO, SPL, and Gastronomy Ventures. Skills gained. Handmade spoken speaking. Crisis management. Rapid egress strategy. Feline psychology. Hostile environment. Lessons learned. Market research is crucial. Never make a live animal part of business presentation. Learn to fight humor and humiliation. Would build a mental resilience. Discover that my real passion wasn't cat food, but connecting with people through storytelling. Even stories of failure. Step 4. Acknowledge your career growth. Reader completed failure resume out loud. Look at the wells of experience. Look at the resilience, the wisdom, the hard-won knowledge. This isn't a list of your mistakes. This is a transcript of your education in the real world. This is the proof you have been tested, that you have survived, and that you are infinitely more qualified for whatever comes next than you were before. This document tests your secret weapon. It's a testament to your strength. The ghosts of your past are not haunting you anymore. You've put them to work. They're no longer poltergeists. They're your personal boredom advisors, and their wisdom is about to make you unstoppable.
Chapter 3. The Comparison Games. Why keeping up with the Joneses is a losing battle. It's 10 p.m. You're lying in bed, bathed in the pale, ethereal pope of your phone. You had a pretty decent day. You managed to wear real pants. You didn't accidentally hit reply all in a gossip-filled email. And you successfully microwaved a dinner that was only slightly frozen in the middle. A solid B+ of a day. Then you open Instagram, and there's Karen. Karen from college, who you haven't spoken to in a decade, is currently baking artisanal bread from scratch in a spotless white kitchen, while her 2 cherubic children read Tolstoy in the original Russian nearby. Her post is a sun-drenched, perfectly filtered snapshot of domestic bliss. The caption reads, "Just another magical Monday, feeling so blessed and so grateful for these simple moments." Suddenly your B+ day feels like a spectacular F-. Your microwaved meal feels like a personal failing. Your real pants feel inadequate. You've just been sucked into the soul-crushing vortex of the comparison games, and the only prize is a steaming pile of self-doubt. In the age of social media, we are all unwilling participants in this toxic Olympiad. We scroll through an endless parade of everyone else's wins. The promotions, the engagements, the exotic vacations, the flawlessly decorated homes, the gluten-free muffins that actually look edible. We are constantly comparing our behind-the-scenes footage, complete with bad lighting, messy hair, and a pile of laundry that has achieved sentence to everyone else's perfectly edited highlight reel. Let's be clear, social media isn't real life. It's a performance. It's a curated gallery where everyone is the artist, the subject, and the museum director, carefully selecting only the most flattering exhibits to display. Nobody posts a selfie with themselves crying into a tub of ice cream at 2 a.m. because their brilliant idea got shot down. Nobody live tweets the sheer panic of trying to assemble an IKEA bookshelf. We see the finished product, the triumphant after photo, but we miss the messy, frustrating, failure-ridden before and during. This isn't a new phenomenon. We've always had the Joneses to keep up with. But now, thanks to the internet, you have to compete with the metaphorical boundmongers of thousands of friends, acquaintances, and influencers from around the globe. It's an impossible, unwinnable battle. Our brains are hardwired for social comparison. It's an old evolutionary trick for figuring out where we fit in the tribe. But that ancient software was designed for a village of 150 people, not a global village of 8 billion. When we constantly bombard our brains with curated images of perfection, we trigger a perpetual state of inadequacy. It fuels our fear of failure by creating an impossibly high bar. We see everyone else's apparent success and think if I try and fail, I'll fall even further behind these perfect people. It's safer not even try. It's a cycle of compare and despair. That I'm here to tell you that you can break the cycle. You can't get rid of the Joneses, but you can stop peeking off at their digital sense. It's time to take control of your feed and turn it from a source of deflation into a source of inspiration. Exorcise, the social media detox challenge. This isn't about deleting your account and moving to a cabin in the woods, unless that's your jam, in which case go for it. This is a practical, fun challenge designed to help you create a social media experience that makes you feel good, not garbage. Let's call it digital spring cleaning. Phase 1. The merciless unfollow spree. The purge. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Open your favorite social media app. Scroll through your feed and ask yourself one simple question for every account you follow. Does this account make me feel better or worse about myself? Be brutally honest. That fitness influencer's perfect body just reminds you of the donut you ate for breakfast. Unfollow. That old rival from high school, which was about their amazing job, like a personal attack. Unfollow. The celebrity whose lavish lifestyle makes your apartment look like a showbox. You know what to do. This isn't about being mean. It's about protecting your peace. Unfollow anyone who triggers your inner critic. Phase 2. The mute button is your best friend. The diplomatic solution. Okay, so you can unfollow your aunt who exclusively posts political rants, or your boss who shares way too many photos of their prize-winning petunias. This is where the magic of the mute button comes in. It's the digital equivalent of smiling and nodding while thinking about what we're going to have for dinner. You remain connected, but their content no longer clutters your feed or your mind. Go through your friends list and mute anyone who posts consistently bring you down. Phase 3. The inspiration infusion. The refill. Now for the fun part. Your feed is looking to load up with bars, then now you get to fill it with things that actually lift you up. Actively search and follow accounts that align with your real interest and make you feel inspired, motivated, and happy. Love go laugh. Follow comedians or meme accounts. Trying to learn a new skill? Follow artists, chefs, or musicians to share their process. Mistakes and all.
Read encouragement, follow motivational speakers, authors, or therapy accounts that offer genuine wisdom. Your goal is to transform your social media to the into real life into a personalized toolkit for your own likes. At the end of the challenge, your feed will completely different. It will no longer be a weapon used against yourself. It will be a source of joy, a well of inspiration, and a reflection of the person you want to be, not the person you feel you should be.
Part 2. The Resilience Revolution. Bouncing back bolder and badder than before. Chapter 4. The Art of the Intelligent Failure. How to fail forward fast. What if I told you that your entire concept of failure is wrong? What if I told you that the graveyard of your bad ideas is actually a gold mine? And that the most successful, innovative, and brilliant people you can think of have a bigger collection of failures than anyone else? They aren't successful despite their failures. They are successful because of them. Think about it. When a toddler is learning to walk, they fall a lot. They wobble, they stumble, they faceplant into the carpet with a soft little thump. Does the toddler throw up their hands and declared, "Well, that's it for me. Bipedal locomotion is clearly not my calling. I shall embrace the crawling life from this day forward"? Of course not. Every fall is a data point. Okay, leaning that far forward results in an unpleasant meeting between my forehead and the floor. Duly noted. Every stumble is an experiment. It's a process of rapid, real-time course correction. That toddler is a genius of failing forward. Somewhere along the way, we lose that genius. We start to see failure not as data, but as a final verdict on our worth. We try something, it doesn't work, and we retreat, stung by the shame of it all. This chapter is about reclaiming your inner toddler. It's about learning the art of the intelligent failure. An intelligent failure isn't just any old screw up. It's a specific type of failure that is rich with information. It's the result of a thoughtful risk, a calculated experiment in a new territory. It's the kind of failure that when you look back, you say, "Wow, I'm so glad that happened because now I know." Take James Dyson. He wanted to create a better vacuum cleaner. It took him 5,126 failed prototypes to get it right. He didn't have 5,126 failures. He had 5,126 steps on the path to success. Each failure told him what didn't work, pushing him closer to what would. Or consider the humble Post-it note. It was born from a failed experiment to create a super strong adhesive. A scientist at 3M, Spencer Silver, created the opposite. A ridiculously weak glue that you could stick and restick without leaving a residue. For years, it was a solution without a problem. A complete failure. Until another 3M scientist, Art Fry, got annoyed that his bookmarks kept falling out of his church hymnal. Suddenly, the failed glue had a brilliant purpose. These aren't stories of failure. They're stories of learning. An intelligent failure is your personal R&D department. It's a GPS for your goals. Every time you take a wrong turn, it doesn't scream, "You're a terrible driver." It calmly says, "Recalculating," and show you a better route. The goal isn't to avoid failure. The goal is to get really, really good at it. To fail forward fast, to extract the maximum amount of learning from every setback, so that your next attempt is smarter, stronger, and one step closer to a breakthrough. It's time to stop treating your failures like a crime scene and start treating them like a science lab, which is why we're going to put on our detective hats and learn how to conduct a proper investigation. Exercise. The failure autopsy. Welcome, detective. A failure has occurred. Your job is not to assign blame or wallow in regret.
Your job is to be like a calm, cool-headed forensic investigator. You are here to dissect the situation, uncover the hidden clues, and extract the crucial piece of evidence that will crack the case of how to do this better next time. Grab a notebook and pick a recent setback. It could be big or small. A project that flopped, a diet you thought of, or a conversation that went sideways. Now let's begin the autopsy. 1. The case file. Just the facts. Objectively describe what happened. No emotion, no drama, no judgment. Just write down the sequence of events as if you were a security camera recording the incident. Example. Set a goal to wake up at 6 a.m. of a day given the exercise. Succeeded on day 1. On day 2, I hit the snooze button 4 times and woke up at 7:15 a.m. Did not exercise. 2. Examine the evidence, the contributing factors. What were the circumstances surrounding the event? What was in your control? What was out of your control? List all the contributing factors, both internal and external. Example. Staying up until 1 a.m. watching a true crime documentary. That was in my control. My bed was extremely comfortable. That was out of my control, sort of. And I didn't lay out my workout clothes the day before. That was in my control. And I told myself, I'll just rest my eyes for 5 more minutes. That was in my control. 3. Identify the time of death, the critical moment. Pinpoint the exact moment where things went off the rails. What was the specific decision, action, or inaction that sealed the deal? This is almost always a single identifiable choice point. Example. The critical moment was when my alarm first went off, and instead of putting my feet on the floor, I negotiated with myself and hit snooze. That first snooze was the point of no return. 4. Extract the DNA, the golden lesson. This is the whole point of the investigation. Based on the evidence, what is the single most valuable lesson you can learn from this? What is the if I could do it again piece of wisdom? This should be a clear, actionable insight. Example. The lesson is that the battle is won or lost in the first 5 seconds. The me who is negotiating at 6 a.m. is not doing trusted. To succeed, I need to make the decision automatic and remove the negotiation. The plan for tomorrow is to put my phone or alarm across the room so I physically have to get out of bed to turn it off. 5. Close the case. Thank the failure for its valuable data. Mentally place your findings in a file cabinet in your brain labeled wisdom and let go of the emotional baggage. The case is closed. You are not a failure. You are a detective who just got a crucial lead. So go ahead. Open up the cold cases of your past. Every single one holds a clue to building a bolder, better, and more brilliant future.
Chapter 5. Plot twist! The power of reframing your narrative. If your life were a movie, what genre would it be? Right now, you might feel like you're stuck in a depressing indie drama, or it's always raining and the main character just stares wistfully out of bus windows. Or maybe it's a cringe comedy, where you're the hapless sidekick who constantly trips over things and says the wrong thing at the worst possible moment. After significant failure, it's easy to cast ourselves as the tragic hero. The story we tell ourselves is one of defeat. The script goes something like this. I tried. I failed. The world saw. He was embarrassing. Therefore, I'm a failure, and I should probably never try anything ever again. We write this narrative, carve it into our minds, and then we read it back to ourselves every single day. We become the director, the actor, and the critic of our own terrible movie. And the title is usually something soul-crushing, like The Guy Who Got Attacked by His Own Cat and Other Business Blunders. But what if you had the power to change the script? What if, in the middle of the scene where everything is going wrong, you could yell cuck and call for a rewrite? This is the power of the plot twist. Your life isn't a movie that's already been filmed. It's a story that you are actively writing right now.
You hold the pen, and every failure is simply an opportunity to introduce a mind-blowing, game-changing plot twist. Our brains are hardwired for narrative. We don't think in spreadsheets and data points, we think in stories. These stories shape our reality. If you tell yourself the story that your botched presentation was the end of your career, your brain will dutifully look for evidence to support that script. You'll become more timid in meetings, you'll shy away from new projects, and your story will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what if you reframed it? What if the botched presentation wasn't the end? What if it was the inciting incident? The story could be a young, ambitious professional suffers a humiliating defeat. Humbled, they are forced to confront their greatest fears. They abandon their rigid, fragile approach and discover a new, authentic confidence, eventually becoming the most compelling and sought-after communicator in their field. See? Same set of facts, completely different story. One is a tragedy, the other is a superhero origin story. One ends with you hiding in a broom closet, the other ends with you soaring. I did this with my infamous cat food business faceplant. For months, the story was a tragedy about my own incompetence. But when I started to find the humor in it, the genre shifted. It became a comedy. Then, as I realized how much it taught me about resilience, it became an adventure. Now, it's the foundational story of my entire career, a heroic tale of a man who had to get taken down by a 10-pound ball of fur to discover his true calling. You have this power too. You can take any failure, any flop, any mortifying moment, and rewrite it. You can change the genre, shift the focus, and find the heroic art hidden within the wreckage. It's time to stop being a passive character in a sad story and become the author of an epic one. Exercise, the Rewrite Your Flop Challenge. Grab your director's hat and a fresh notebook. It's time to take one of your biggest flops and give it the Hollywood treatment. We are going to turn your box office bomb into a blockbuster. Step 1. Choose your flop. Pick a failure that still has some emotion sting to it. The one that makes you cringe a little when you think about it. The failed business, the awkward breakup, the time you tried to cook a fancy dinner and set off the fire alarm. Got it? Good. That's our source material. Step 2, change the genre. The story you've been telling yourself is probably a tragedy or a cringe comedy. Let's change it. Pick a new, more empowering genre for this event. Here are some ideas. Action hero origin story. This failure was the moment you discovered your superpower, resilience, empathy, a surprising talent for putting out kitchen fires. Indie dramedy. It was a quirky, bittersweet experience that taught you a profound lesson about life, love, or the importance of reading a recipe correctly. Epic fantasy quest. This was a battle with a fearsome dragon, of self-doubt, of the marketplace, of your own inexperience. You may have been wounded, but you escaped with the priceless treasure of wisdom. Step 3, rewrite the scene. Now, write a one-page story of the event in your new genre. Don't just list the facts, tell the story. As the hero of this tale, what was your internal monologue? What heroic qualities did you display, even if you didn't realize it at the time? Courage for trying, grace under pressure, the sheer will to keep going. What was the hidden lesson or the magic sword you acquired from the experience? Step 5. Add a killer soundtrack. No movie is complete without a soundtrack. Pick a theme song for your new story. What song captures the feeling of your heroic journey? Is it Eye of the Tiger? Is it I Will Survive? Is it the triumphant score from The Lord of the Rings? Write down the song title at the top of your page. Every time you think of this failure, I want you to hear this song in your head. Step 5, give it a new title. Your old story was called My Humiliating Defeat. Your new one needs a better title. Based on your new genre or story, give it a blockbuster title. Example, From the Time I Got Fired to My Corporate Escape, The Beginning of Freedom.
From my awful first date to a funny thing happened on the way to finding myself. Read your news story out loud. Feel the difference. It's the same event, but the meaning has been transformed. You've taken the narrative back. You've introduced a plot twist. This isn't just a fun little writing exercise. This is how you change your past. And when you change your past, you revolutionize your future. You're the author. Now go write yourself a masterpiece.
Chapter 6, The Bounce Back Toolbox, your go-to guide for getting up after a knockdown. You just got knocked down. Metaphorically speaking, of course. But if you literally just got knocked down, maybe close the book and check for injuries first. Your brilliant idea just belly flopped. Your presentation was dead. Your carefully laid plan just went up in a glorious blaze of failure. You're lying flat on the canvas of life. The referee of your inner critic is counting to 10, and the temptation to just lie there until someone throws a blanket over you is overwhelming. We've all been there. The emotional fallout of a setback can be brutal. It's a toxic cocktail of shame, disappointment, and frustration, and can create a powerful vortex of inertia. We get stuck. For years, I believed resilience was a kind of superpower that some people were just born with. You know the type, the effortlessly cheerful friend who gets laid off and immediately sees it as a fun opportunity to pivot while you're still trying to figure out how to put on pants. Spoiler alert, that's a lie. It's a dangerous myth that keeps us stuck in the hamster wheel of shame. Resilience isn't some mystical quality you're born with. It's a muscle you can build. It's not about avoiding the knockdown. It's about how quickly and effectively you get back on your feet. It's a skill, and like any skill, it requires the right set of tools. What you need in that moment of defeat isn't a vague platitude like, stay positive. What you need is an emotional first aid kit. A superhero utility belt packed with practical, proven strategies to stop the bleeding, reset your brain, and get you back in the game. So, let's build your toolkit. These are your go-to battle-tested instruments to bounce them back, bolder and badder than before. Your bounce back toolkit. Tool number 1, the 10-minute pity party timer. That's right, I'm giving you permission to feel sorry for yourself, trying to suppress disappointment as I try to hold a beach ball underwater. It will eventually shoot up and smack you in the face. So feel it, wallow in it, complain, be dramatic. But here's the catch, you have to set a timer for 10 minutes. For those 10 minutes, it's your party and you can cry if you want to. When the timer goes off, the party's over. You take a deep breath, wash your face, and move to the next tool. This honors your feelings without letting you get stuck in them. Tool number 2, the phone a friend's lifeline. You have one of these in your contacts right now. It's not just any friend. It's the cheerleader friend. This is the person who, when you tell them your grand plans failed, doesn't say, oh, that's a shame. They say, so what? That idea was just a warm-up for your real masterpiece. What's next? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to call or text this person for a 5-minute boost. Hearing someone else's belief in you can be the external battery pack your self-worth needs. Tool number 3, the 5-minute brain dump. Your mind is probably a chaotic swirl of negative self-talk right now. Grab a piece of paper and a pen for 5 uninterrupted minutes. Write down every single thought and feeling that comes into your head. Don't edit, don't judge, don't even worry about punctuation. Just get the poison out. The act of externalizing the chaos from your brain onto the page is incredibly powerful. It allows you to see your thoughts as separate from yourself, making far less intimidating and much easier to manage. Tool number 4, the micro-win momentum builder. Failure creates paralysis. The best way to break it is with action. Any action.
I'm talking about a win so small it's almost laughable. Make your bed. Answer one easy email. Do one push-up. Tidy your mask for 2 minutes. This isn't about productivity. It's about psychology. Accomplishing a tiny task provides your brain with a small hit of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. It's a signal that says, I can still do things. It's a spark that can reignite your engine. Resilience isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. My go-to recipe for a bad day might not work for you. The key is to know what your personal ingredients for a comeback are before you meet them. Exercise, the resilience recipe card. You are the chef of your own comeback. This exercise is about creating your own personalized go-to recipe for bouncing back from a tough day or a big setback. You're going to create a physical or digital recipe card that you can pull out the moment you feel knocked down. Step number 1, brainstorm your ingredients, your pantry. List everything, big or small, that has ever made you feel even a tiny bit better when you were down. This is your personal pantry of Big Pamps. Think about all your senses. Don't judge the items, just list them. Examples. Listening to White Pumble playlist, a 10-minute walk outside, watching a funny cat video, brewing a perfect cup of tea, calling my sister, stretching for 5 minutes, smelling a specific candle, looking at old photos that make me happy, organizing a single drawer, reading a chapter out of a beloved book, recipe card. Step 2, create your recipe card. Take an index card, a post-it note, or a note on your phone. At the top right, your name's resiliency recipe. In case of emergency, follow these steps. Step 3, write your instructions. From your pantry list, choose 3 to 5 ingredients and write them down as a simple step-by-step recipe. Start with the easiest, lowest effort item first. This is your immediate action plan to pull you out of the vortex. Example recipe card. Sarah's resiliency recipe. In case of emergency, follow these steps. Prepare, put on Eye of the Tiger. Step 1, do a 5-minute brain dump on a legal pod. Step 2, brew a cup of Earl Grey tea and drink it slowly, away from any screens. Step 3, go for a 10-minute walk around the block, no phone allowed. Serve. Reevaluate the situation with a clearer head. Step 4, put it somewhere obvious. This is the most crucial step. Don't bury this card in a drawer. Tape it to your bathroom mirror. Make it your computer's desktop background. Put it on your fridge. When you're in the fog of failure, you won't have the energy to think clearly. Your recipe card is your lifeline. It will do the thinking for you. It's your pre-written permission slip to be kind to yourself in your step-by-step guide back to the fight.
Part 3. Unleashing your inner badass. Living a life less fearful. Chapter 7. Embracing imperfection. Why good enough is the new perfect. I once spent 45 minutes trying to write a 2-sentence email. It was an email to a potential client, and in my mind, it had to be perfect. The sentences needed to be a sublime blend of professional yet approachable, witty yet serious, confident yet humble. I agonized over every word. Best regards, or sincerely, is hope you're having a great week too cliche? Does this exclamation point make me seem desperate? By the end of it, I had stared at the screen for so long that the words had lost all meaning. My perfectly crafted email looked like a ransom note written by a deranged poet. I was paralyzed. I closed the laptop and decided to circle back to it later, which, as we all know, is procrastination's most clever disguise. This, my friends, is the tyranny of perfectionism. We dress it up in fancy clothes and call it having high standards or being detail-oriented, but let's call it what it really is. It's a gilded cage.
Perfectionism is the enemy of progress and the undisputed best friend of the fear of failure. They're the toxic power couple of your psyche, whispering in your ear. Don't start that project until you have the perfect plan. Don't launch that website until every pixel is flawless. Don't send that email until it's worthy of a Pulitzer Prize. Here's the dirty little secret perfectionism doesn't want you to know. It's not about being perfect. It's about the fear of being seen as imperfect. It's a defense mechanism. We believe that if we can just create the perfect product, give the perfect presentation, or be the perfect parent, we'll be immune to criticism, judgment, and failure. It's a beautiful, shimmering, and utterly destructive lie. The pursuit of perfect is the fast track to getting nothing done. We don't start because the conditions aren't perfect. We don't finish because our work is imperfect. We don't share because our creation isn't perfect. We are so terrified of producing something that is flawed that we end up producing nothing at all. And then we wonder why we feel so stuck. It's time for a revolution. A rebellion against the tyranny of perfect. I want you to join me in embracing a new, more powerful, and infinitely more liberating mantra. Good enough. Now, before your inner perfectionist has a full norm meltdown, let's be clear. Good enough is not an excuse for being lazy or producing sloppy work. It's not about mediocrity. It's about being effective. It's about recognizing that in most cases, a good enough solution delivered today is infinitely better than a perfect solution that never sees the light of day. It's the 80-20 solution. You can spend 20% of your effort to get 80% of the results. And that last 20% of perfect, it'll cost you 80% of your time, energy, and sanity. The math is simple. Good enough gets you across the finish line. Perfect keeps you running in circles until you collapse from exhaustion. Embracing good enough is the ultimate act of self-trust. It's the courage to be human, to be a work in progress, to be gloriously messy. It's the key to getting unstuck and getting things done. To do that, you have to retrain your brain. You have to prove to your inner critic that the world doesn't end when things are slightly askew. You need to build your imperfection muscle. Exercise. The deliberate imperfection dare. Welcome to your imperfection training ground. The goal of this exercise is to intentionally introduce tiny, low-stakes imperfections into your life and observe the outcome. Spoiler, the outcome is that nothing happens. You are a scientist collecting data to this proved hypothesis that everything will fall apart if I'm not perfect. Choose your dare. Start with level 1 and see how it feels. Level 1. The secret slob. No one else even needs to know. The dare. Wear mismatched socks for a day. The dare. Leave one dish in the sink overnight. On purpose. The dare. Make your bed and believe one pillow slightly crooked. Deep breath. At the end of the day, reflect. Did your mismatched socks cause a dip in the stock market? Did a single dirty dish summon an army of ants to take over your home? No? Interesting data. Level 2. The minor public glitch. Someone might notice, but probably won't. The dare. Send an email to a trusted colleague or friend with a deliberate minor typo. It's like, thanks for the update. Don't correct it. The dare. When telling this story to a friend, forget minor name. Tell it, just say, oh, I forget his name anyway. The point is, and just keep going without agonizing over it. The dare. Start a new creative hobby like drawing or knitting and share your terrible first attempt with one person. Deep breathe. Did your colleague call you out on the topo, or did their brain lightly correctly without a second thought? Did your friends still understand and enjoy your story? Did your drawing cause them to respect you less? Collect that evidence. Level 3. The fearless human. This is for the advanced. The dare. Post a picture on social media where you look happy, but the background isn't perfectly tidy. The dare. Arrive at a casual social gathering exactly on time, not 5 minutes early with the perfectly rehearsed opening line. The dare. Doing a meeting, ask a dumb question, one that you think you should probably already know the answer to. They breathe.
look at you. You're out there living, being human, and surviving at all. You are actively proving to yourself that the world is not tied to your flawlessness. Each of these turns its no act of rebellion. You are intentionally breaking the rules that perfectionism lists out for you and proving with cold, hard data that those rules are meaningless. The world keeps spinning. People still like you and you.
Chapter 9. Building Your Failure-Friendly Tribe, the Power of a Supportive Squad. There's a powerful, romantic, and utterly bogus myth we've been sold. The myth of the lone wolf. The solitary genius in a garage. The rugged individualist who pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps. The hero who stands alone on a misty cliff, staring into the abyss of a great challenge, ready to face their fears single-handedly. Let's be honest, it's a great movie poster, but it's a terrible life strategy. Facing your fears alone is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of a bad plan. When I was at my absolute lowest after the great cat-fooded fiasco of '08, did I meditate on a mountaintop until I achieved enlightenment? No, I called my best friend, Dave, who listened to my entire tale of woe, and then, after a perfectly timed pause, said, "Dude, you got beat up by a cat. That's not a failure. That's a legendary story." In that moment, Dave didn't offer a 5-point plan for success. He offered something far more valuable: perspective and connection. He didn't let me marinate in my own shame. He reminded me that it was more than my most recent faceplant. You don't have to face your fears alone. In fact, you shouldn't. The secret weapon of every truly resilient and successful person isn't a will of iron. It's a well-curated support system, a tribe, a squad, a personal board of directors for your life. This is your failure-friendly tribe, the people who don't just pop to champagne for your victories, but who show up with a metaphorical mop and bucket for your messes. These are the people who will celebrate your courage for trying, regardless of the outcome. They are the human charging stations for your soul. Your tribe isn't necessarily your family or your oldest friends. It's a curated group defined by their roles, not their relationship to you. Every great tribe has a few key members. The cheerleader, this is your Gave. They're your hype person. When your self-belief is running on empty, they're the one on the sidelines with a giant foam finger screaming your name. Their belief in you is unwavering, even when your own is shot. The coach, this person tells you the truth, even when it's hard to hear. They don't just say, "You're great." They say, "The idea was solid, but your execution was a bit messy. What did you learn?" They see your potential and hold you accountable to it. They ask the tough question to help you perform your failure autopsy. The medic, this is when you're emotionally scraped up and bruised from a setback. The medic is there with the first aid kit. They're the empathetic listener who offers a shoulder to cry on, a pint of ice cream, or just a quiet presence that says, "You're safe here." They help you heal so you can get back in the game. The solo adventurer. This is someone who is also out there taking risks and falling down. They're in the trenches with you. Sharing your battle stories with this person is validating and reminds you that you are not the only one who feels like an imposter some days. There's a Mitch Mauer in a shared me too. Now, just as important as cultivating your tribe is recognizing who isn't on it. You need to be a ruthless bouncer at the velvet rope of your life, protecting yourself from the failure folks and the dream questers. These are the people who, often under the guise of being realistic, specialize in pouring water on your sparks. Beware of the "I told you so"er, the sideline critic, and the perpetual worrier. You don't need to banish them from your life, but you must not give them a front-run seat to your dreams. Building your tribe is one of the most important things you will ever do, and it starts with acknowledging the team you already have. Exorcise, the Tribe Appreciation Challenge. This is a simple, powerful exercise designed to strengthen your support system by consciously acknowledging it. It feels good to you, it feels amazing to them, and it actively reinforces the cause that will hold you up when you need the most. Step 1, identify your tribe members. Get out a piece of paper, write down the names of 2 to 4 people in your life who have played one of the tribe roles for you. Cheerleader, coach, medic, fellow adventurer. You don't have to tell them that role. This is just for you. Step 2, pinpoint a specific moment. Next stage, name, write down one particular memory of a time they showed up for you. Not a general, she's always so supportive, but the concrete moment. Example, Dave, the time he made me laugh my head off after my presentation bombed. Example, Maria, when she reviewed my business plan and gave me all this stuff because I made the 10x better. My sister Jen, after my breakdown, when she just sat on my couch with me for a whole weekend without saying a word. Step 3, send the appreciation signal. This is the action step. You are going to reach out to each person on your list and thank them for that specific moment. This is not a long, dramatic declaration. It's a simple, powerful signal of appreciation. You can text, email, or call. Here the template. Hey, name. I was just thinking about whatever specific moment that honestly meant the world to me, and I just wanted to say thank you for having my back. You're awesome. That's it. It'll take you less than 5 minutes, but the ripple effect is enormous. You are actively investing in the people who invested in you. You are fortifying the very foundation that will give you the courage to take your next big leap. Your church is contagious, but it's also powered by connection. Go tell your tribe how much they mean to you. Your next great adventure depends on it.
Chapter 9. Building your failure-friendly tribe, the power of a supportive squad. There's a powerful, romantic, and utterly bogus myth we've been sold. The myth of the lone wolf. The solitary genius in a garage, the rugged individualist who pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps, the hero who stands alone on a misty cliff, staring into the abyss of a great challenge, ready to face their fears single-handedly. Let's be honest, it's a great movie poster, but it's a terrible life strategy. Facing your fears alone is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of a bad plan. When I was at my absolute lowest after the great cat-fooded fiasco of '08, did I meditate on a mountaintop until I achieved enlightenment? No, I called my best friend, Dave, who listened to my entire tale of woe, and then, after a perfectly timed pause, said, "Dude, you got beat up by a cat. That's not a failure. That's a legendary story." In that moment, Dave didn't offer a 5-point plan for success. He offered something far more valuable: perspective and connection. He didn't let me marinate in my own shame. He reminded me that it was more than my most recent faceplant. You don't have to face your fears alone. In fact, you shouldn't. The secret weapon of every truly resilient and successful person isn't a will of iron. It's a well-curated support system, a tribe, a squad, a personal board of directors for your life. This is your failure-friendly tribe, the people who don't just pop to champagne for your victories, but who show up with a metaphorical mop and bucket for your messes. These are the people who will celebrate your courage for trying, regardless of the outcome. They are the human charging stations for your soul. Your tribe isn't necessarily your family or your oldest friends. It's a curated group defined by their roles, not the relationship to you. Every great tribe has a few key members. The cheerleader, this is your Gave. They're your hype person. When your self-belief is running on empty, they're the one on the sidelines with a giant foam finger screaming your name. Their belief in you is unwavering, even when your own is shot. The coach, this person tells you the truth, even when it's hard to hear. They don't just say, "You're great." They say, "The idea was solid, but your execution was a bit messy. What did you learn?" They see your potential and hold you accountable to it. They ask the tough question to help you perform your failure autopsy. The medic, this is when you're emotionally scraped up and bruised from a setback. The medic is there with the first aid kit. They're the empathetic listener who offers a shoulder to cry on, a pint of ice cream, or just a quiet presence that says, "You're safe here." They help you heal so you can get back in the game. The solo adventurer. This is someone who is also out there taking risks and falling down. They're in the trenches with you. Sharing your battle stories with this person is validating and reminds you that you are not the only one who feels like an imposter some days. There's a Mishmauer in a shared me too. Now, just as important as cultivating your tribe is recognizing who isn't on it. You need to be a ruthless bouncer at the velvet rope of your life, protecting yourself from the failure foes and the dream questers. These are the people who, often under the guise of being realistic, specialize in pouring water on your sparks.
Beware of the "I told you so-er," the sideline critic, and the perpetual worrier. You don't need to banish them from your life, but you must not give them a front-run seat to your dreams. Building your tribe is one of the most important things you will ever do, and it starts with acknowledging the team you already have. Exorcise, the Tribe Appreciation Challenge. This is a simple, powerful exercise designed to strengthen your support system by consciously acknowledging it. It feels good to you, it feels amazing to them, and it actively reinforces the cause that will hold you up when you need the most. Step 1. Identify your tribe members. Get out a piece of paper. Write down the names of 2 to 4 people in your life who have played one of the tribe roles for you. Cheerleader, coach, medic, fellow adventurer. You don't have to tell them that role. This is just for you. Step 2. Pinpoint a specific moment next to each name. Write down one particular memory of a time they showed up for you. Not a general, "she's always so supportive," but the concrete moment. Example, Dave, the time he made me laugh my head off after my presentation bombed. Example, Maria, when she reviewed my business plan and gave me all this stuff because I made the 10x better. My sister Jen, after my breakdown, when she just sat on my couch with me for a whole weekend without saying a word. Step 3, send the appreciation signal. This is the action step. You are going to reach out to each person on your list and thank them for that specific moment. This is not a long, dramatic declaration. It's a simple, powerful signal of appreciation. You can text, email, or call. Here the template. Hey, name. I was just thinking about whatever specific moment that honestly meant the world to me, and I just wanted to say thank you for having my back. You're awesome. That's it. It'll take you less than 5 minutes, but the ripple effect is enormous. You are actively investing in the people who invested in you. You are fortifying the very foundation that will give you the courage to take your next big leap. Your church is contagious, but it's also powered by connection. Go tell your tribe how much they mean to you. Your next great adventure depends on it.
Conclusion. Your fearless future. Go forth and fail gloriously. So here we are, at the end of the book, but at the very beginning of your next chapter. A few weeks ago, I had one final battle to wage. A new nemesis had entered my home, disguised in a flat-pack cardboard box. It was a bookshelf from IKEA. As I stared at the minimalist, wordless instructions and the small bag of alien-looking screws, I felt a familiar pang of dread. The ghost of failures past, specifically the ghost of the wobbly coffee table of 2011, began to stir. The old me would have been paralyzed. The old me would have seen this as a high-stakes test of my competence, my patience, and my very soul. The old me would have procrastinated for weeks, the box sitting in the corner like a monument to my own inadequacy. But the new me? The me that has rewritten my flops, conducted failure autopsies, and roasted my worst-case scenarios? I put on my resiliency recipe soundtrack. It's heavy on 80s power ballads. Laid out all the pieces and got to work. And you know what? I messed up. I put the side panel on backwards. I used the wrong screw and had to backtrack. For a glorious 10 minutes, it looked less like a bookshelf and more like a piece of abstract sculpture. And I laughed because I knew the goal wasn't to assemble a perfect bookshelf. The goal was to change my relationship with the process. The goal was to see the backward panel not as a verdict on my intelligence, but as a data point. The goal was to embrace the glorious, messy, occasionally frustrating process of trying. That, right there, is the entire point of this book. The goal was never to eliminate failure from your life. That would be impossible, and frankly, it would make for a terribly boring story. A life without a single stumble, without a single faceplant, without a single, "well, that didn't work" moment, is a life lived in a very small, very padded, and very beige room. The goal was to change your relationship with it, to take failure off its terrifying pedestal, look it straight in the eye, and see it for what it truly is.
It is not a verdict. It is data. It is not a monster. It is a teacher. It is not a dead end. It is a detour onto a more interesting path. You are no longer the person who opened page 1 of this book. You are now armed with a toolkit for bouncing back. You have a failure resume that proves your resilience and a fear-setting worksheet that proves the cost of inaction is the only thing worth fearing. You know how to reframe your narrative, how to build your tribe, and how to embrace the liberating power of good enough. You had everything you need. So what now? Now you go live. You go try the thing you were steered to try. You go start the business, ask for the promotion, write the first page of the novel, or just assemble the damn bookshelf. And you will stumble. You will mess up. You will fail. I can promise you that. But it will be different this time. Because you will know that the failure is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of your comeback. It is the moment you get to practice everything you learned. It is your opportunity to fail forward fast. Fear is a 4-letter word. So is stuck. They are the words that build tages. But so is lived, so is try, so is grow. Those are the words that break them down. The future isn't fearless. It's courageous. It's about feeling the fear and taking the leap anyway, armed with the knowledge you are strong enough to handle whatever comes next. Your fearless future awaits. Now go forth and fail gloriously.
Here is a chapter-by-chapter summary of Fear is a 4-letter word, distilling the core takeaways and actionable lessons from each section, so you can absorb the entire book in minutes. Introduction, my epic faceplant and why it's the best thing that ever happened to me. The gist, the author kicks things off with his most humiliating failure, a business launch for a gourmet cat food company that imploded when his cat, Sir Reginald Fluffington, had a satanic meltdown on stage and clawed his way up the author's head. The takeaway, the antidote to the fear of failure isn't a string of perfect successes. It's a learning to find the humor and the lessons in your faceplants. This book is a guide from the trenches, not an ivory tower, showing you how to turn your most cringeworthy moments into your greatest assets. Part 1. Deconstructing the Beast. Why are we so scared to suck? Chapter 1. The What If Wormhole and Other Mind-Bending Feats of Self-Sabotage. Our brains have a built-in feature called the What If Wormhole, where we imagine a small risk, like asking for a raise, spiraling into absurdly catastrophic outcomes, homelessness, and being abandoned by your dog. This is your ancient saber-toothed tiger brain misfiring in the modern world. The lesson: your fears are often illogical and wildly exaggerated. To disarm them, you must expose their absurdity. Key action: the worst case scenario roast. Write down your fears and most ridiculous conclusion, then mercilessly make This reveals how unlikely it is and shrinks the fear down to its real manageable size. Chapter 2. The Ghosts of Failures Past. Exercising your personal poltergeists. The gist: we are all haunted by the ghosts of our past failures, the botched presentation, the failed exam. These ghosts whisper dice in our ears and keep us from taking new risks. The lesson: these ghosts are not here to haunt you. They're your most valuable teachers in disguise. That botched presentation didn't prove you were incompetent. It taught you a lesson about authentic confidence. Key action: the failureism in. List your past failures, but reframe them as job titles. Ichi, founder and CEO of Feeling Gastronami Ventures. Under each, list the invaluable skills and lessons you gained. This turns your list of shame into a powerful testament to your resilience and experience. Chapter 3. The Comparison Games.
Why keeping up with the Joneses is a losing battle. Social media is the toxic comparison game where we measure our messy real-life bloopers against everyone else's perfectly curated highlight reels. This creates an impossibly high bar and fuels our fear of not measuring up. The lesson: you must curate your social media feed as carefully as you curate your diet. Stop consuming content that makes you feel inadequate. The social media detox challenge is a 3-step process. Curate, mercilessly and follow accounts that make you feel more. Mute for people you can't unfollow and erase them. Just actively follow accounts that inspire, teach, or make you laugh. Part 2. The Resilience Revolution! Bouncing back bolder and badder than before! Chapter 4. The Art of the Intelligent Failure. How to fail forward fast. The most successful people are often the biggest failures. Think James Dyson and his 5,126 failed prototypes. They practice intelligent failure, treating setbacks not as verdicts, but as valuable data. The lesson: stop treating failure like a crime scene and start treating it like a science bod. The goal isn't to avoid failure. It's to get good at learning from it. Key action: the failure autopsy. When you have a setback, act like a detective. Objectively analyze what happened and identify that critical moment when things went wrong and extract the golden message that'll make your next attempt smart. Chapter 5. The plot twist. The power of reframing your narrative. The gist: your life is a story and you are the author. After a failure, we tend to write a tragic narrative of defeat, but we have the power to rewrite the script. The lesson: a failure isn't the end of your story. It can be the inciting incident of your superhero origin story. You can change the meaning of your past by changing the story you tell about it. Key action: the rewrite your flop challenge. Take a past failure, give it a new empowering genre, e.g., action hero origin story. Instead of tragedy, rewrite it from that perspective and give it a new title and a killer theme song. Chapter 6. The Bounce Back Toolkit. Your go-to guide for getting up after a knockdown. The gist: resilience isn't a magical trait you're born with. It's a muscle you build with the right tools. When you're knocked down, you need a practical, emotional first aid kit. The lesson: you can't rely on clear thinking when you're in the fog of failure. You need a pre-planned strategy to get you through the immediate fallout. Key action: the Resilience Recipe Card. Create a personalized best list of 25 simple things that make you feel better, e.g., 1. Put on the air tired, 2. Brew a cup of tea, 3. Go for a 10-minute walk. Write it down and put it somewhere you can see it when you need it most. Part 3. Unleashing your inner badass. Living a life less fearful. Chapter 7. Embracing imperfection. Why good enough is the new perfect? Perfectionism isn't about having high standards. It's a fear-based defense mechanism to avoid judgment. It is the #1 cause of procrastination and kindness. The lesson: liberate yourself by embracing good enough. A finished project that's 80% perfect is infinitely better than the perfect project that never gets done. Key action: the goal: liberate imperfection. Intentionally introduce tiny little sticks to imperfections and cure, like to prove to your brain that the world doesn't end when things are not perfect. Chapter 8. The Fear-Setting Framework. What's the real cost of inaction? We are experts in mentioning the potential cost of taking action, but we rarely calculate the very real soul-crushing cost of staying stuck. The lesson: the slow creeping regret of never having tried. Oh, it's almost always more painful than the sting of any single failure. Key action: the fear-setting worksheet is a 3-part exercise. Cute failure as defining your worst case scenario and how you could prevent/repair it, and to list the potential benefits of trying, and most importantly, detail the canting emotional, financial, and personal class as themes like in 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years. This makes your case for action undeniable. Chapter 9. The fear-friendly truth, the power of a supportive God. The lone wolf hero is our myth. Facing fear alone is the best strategy.
true courage in team sport. But listen, you need to intentionally cultivate your friendly tribe. I can write a group of people, EJ, cheerleaders, cookies, and the like, who will jump on your lap is not disturbed. Key action. But tribe representation times actively strengthen your support system by identifying key people in your tribe and sending a short spirited visit note thanks for a time they had your back. Conclusion. Your fearless future. Go forth and fail gloriously. The odds of success to leave boat imperfectly. Assembles an IKEA bookshelf. Revised restriction with value has fundamentally changed. The final takeaway. The goal wasn't to eliminate failure, it was to transform it from the monster into a teacher, from the verdict into data. You are now armed with the tools to be courageous, to be the fanic enemy. Yep, you choose without braining field to sit up. No, you get at a lady step. Now go for it, technically,